Most entrepreneurs think the fastest way to grow their business is to go to networking events, pay for internet leads, and meet people that you don't already know. Well, after nearly 2 decades of being an entrepreneur and working with over 600 people, what if there was a completely different approach to business? What if some of the best people for you to work with weren't random strangers and didn't come from random internet leads? But if we were to pull up the contacts on your phone right now that maybe you're watching this video on, you would actually recognize their name and you would know them and they would know you. Today, I'm going to give you a simple framework if you're looking to grow your business the easy way and stop doing it the hard way. I'm going to share with you exactly what worked for me step by step. So I want you to reflect right now. I wonder if you find yourself asking these types of questions. How do I get more leads? How do I grow my audience? How do I meet more people? How do I get more referrals? I want to give you a better question to ask yourself than any of those. It's this: who already knows, likes, and trusts me that I've failed to stay in contact with? Here's the caveat: in a meaningful way. A meaningful way. I want to share with you one of the beliefs that held me back for so many years. And here's how you know if you have a belief that's holding you back. We could call this a limiting belief, right? Do you find yourself saying things like this? I don't want to bother them. I don't want to seem like salesy or pushy or too eager. Or how about this one? It's been too long. At this point, it would just be awkward. Here's another one. They'll call me if they need me. By the way, if any of these resonate with you, mention in the comments below if you would be so bold. So here's the thing that you're going to have to understand in order to move forward in this approach. There's a difference between using a relationship and stewarding a relationship. Using may sound like this: what can I get from this person? You see that question? It's all about you and your needs and your focus. What can you get from this person? Stewarding sounds more like this: how can I stay connected to them? Here's the caveat: in a meaningful way. A meaningful way. Here's the 3-step framework to make it super simple that I found so helpful. Number 1 is to reconnect. Think about this. It's restarting the conversation or starting the conversation again. Don't start with your offer. Don't be like the person that used to go to church with me where I haven't heard from them in a few decades. And all of a sudden I get this random Facebook message inviting me to sell Amway. We don't want to do that to anybody. Not that there's anything wrong with selling Amway, but don't go from not connecting with them to now you're just reaching out, trying to push your agenda of a sell. So start the conversation over again. Don't start with your offer. Start with the person in mind and ask a question that's all about them. I like the FORD acronym. I've mentioned that before and I'll share it with you again because it's super simple and it's been so helpful for me. Have you ever ran into somebody like at Target or Macy's or something like that out shopping, and you know them, but it's been years and you're like, oh, what do I say to them? Right? Sometimes for some of us that are more extroverted, that could be easy. It's like we're just waiting to run into somebody we haven't seen in forever. And yet for some of us, we can panic and just kind of freeze up and not know what to say next. So no matter which category you're in, keep this as a tool in your back pocket. It's the FORD acronym. FORD like the truck. FORD. Here's what FORD stands for: family, occupation, recreation, dreams. The point is to have a conversation all about them. Here's the truth though. This actually makes it easier for you because if you're asking questions and they're doing the talking, guess what? You just get to relax and pay attention to what they're saying. And here's the thing: statistically, people have never been more lonely than they are right now. True. I mean, that came out as in the USA Today as a bold headline. I think it was last year or the year before. People are more lonely than they've ever been before in history. Why am I bringing that up? Because what a blessing it is when you run into that person, when you start asking them questions, to have a conversation all about them. People actually value that. So how do you win with people? You have a conversation and you let them do the talking. How to lose with people? Overshare. Take your stories and everything about you, file it to the side, hold off on sharing that, and wait until they ask you a question. By the way, Don't be the eager beaver that's just sitting there waiting for the next opportunity to share all about you. Don't do that. I know it's tempting. I get it. I like to share, and my favorite topic is me. Just ask me and I'll tell you all about me. I understand that there's things that you're proud of and excited, but there's a time and place for this. When you're reconnecting with somebody you haven't spoke with in perhaps years, hold back on sharing about you. Keep it brief and keep the conversation all about them. So here's some simple questions. How have you been? I was thinking about you. How's life? How's business? Ask about their family. Get back to that Ford acronym. Ask about their occupation. That's what it is that they do for a living. How's work going? What's the next opportunity that you're excited about? What's going on in your world? R stands for recreation, right? What's their hobbies? What are they into? Are they into fishing, hunting, putting together puzzles, bingo, skydiving? Like, what is their thing? Ask them how that's going. And then after recreation, we have dreams. What I'm not talking about is I'm not talking about last night after they ate the burrito. I'm talking about dreams, meaning future ambitions. What is it that excites them when they dream about their future? These are conversations around their future. So keep that Ford acronym in your back pocket as a tool. I found it super helpful over the years. So the goal, once again, back to the framework, the 3 R's: reconnect, rediscover, and respond. We've talked about the reconnecting. Big picture, what you're doing is you're just initiating a conversation with them, and you don't have to wait until you run into them in Target or out in public. Matter of fact, it's better that you don't wait that long. Send them a text message, pick up a phone call, and actually reconnect with them. And here's the second step of the framework: rediscover. Don't assume that you know what's happening in someone else's life just because you knew them 3 years ago. People change, business change, seasons change, things change. I mean, I just had a phone call with a gentleman earlier where he's been with a company for years, and he came to my mind, and I called him, and he shared that he just had this conversation this week where he was let go out of an opportunity he thought that would just kind of always stay the same. So here's my point. Life changes, seasons change, problems change, goals change, businesses change. And a lot of times for those of us that are in a service-based business, it's the change that actually brings about the opportunity for you. Business in its essence is problem solving. It's helping people with a challenge that they're having in their life. Think about it. Even a carpet cleaning business, there's a challenge that they're having. The carpet is dirty, therefore they pick up and they call the carpet cleaner. So in its essence, business can come about, and often does, comes a result of that life change. So as you're reconnecting with them, rediscovering what's going on in their world, that could create an opportunity for you to respond. So here's the thing. Once you understand what's happening in their world, look for opportunities to add value. Sometimes I ask people, hey, are you looking for any connections right now? What are you looking for? If you're talking to people that are also business owners, most of the time people are looking to grow their business. So you could ask them a question like, hey, what does your target client look like? Are you looking for any connections right now? Is there any connections that I can make for you? I was talking to a gentleman on the phone who is into transformational coaching. And I asked him like, hey, what are you looking for right now? And he said that he's looking for connections because he has a workshop coming up that he's hosting. And so I made a connection for him, meaning that as he described the challenge that he had and who he was looking for, I asked him enough questions to get a image in my mind, and I had a face pop up, and I connected them via text message. So respond after you rediscover and reconnect. Maybe you can help them. Maybe you could introduce them to someone. Maybe you know a resource. Maybe you're exactly who they needed to speak with that day. So now that we've gone through the 3R framework, let's fundamentally think about why relationships get connected. A lot of times it comes from fear. Fear can sound like, I don't want to bother them. Hey, I get that completely. I remember one time I went through a season where part of my strategy and my business was actually old school door knocking on a subdivision. And I remember I actually, I think that is probably like grinding it out, tactical sales, as simple and as gritty as you can get, knocking on random strangers' doors. I mean, that's okay. So here's what's my point with bringing that up. I remember thinking to myself, like, number one, this is terrible. I don't really want to be doing this. And yet I knew that if I knocked on about 100 people's doors that day, I would find at least 3 pieces of business or 3 referrals. And so that's what I did. Here's the thing. So the reason I share this story with you is because what I started to imagine as I was walking up to their door, I started imagining an old lady that's fell down. Do you remember the commercials? Help me, I've fallen, I can't get up. You ever seen that commercial before? And I would envision an old lady that's fell down and she's laying there praying and hoping somebody would come by and help her. That's what I was telling myself to overcome all the fear and resistance to knock on the door. I never did once come across a lady that was laying on the floor looking to get up. And yet my point is it helped me get over the fear of not wanting to bother them. You're going to have to make the leap from seeing yourself as a person that bothers them. There's going to need to be a mindset shift to you don't bother people. You actually bless people, because after people encounter you, this is where things started to change for me. Once I started to believe in my heart of hearts that I didn't bother people, that by reaching out to people, having a conversation with them, that I was actually somehow going to make their day better. Their day would actually be better as a result of having a conversation with me, after meeting with me, having an interaction with me. So fear says, I don't want to bother them. And an assumption says they'll call me if they need me. After all, they have my number. Avoidance says, I'll reach out eventually. This is the person with the best of intention. Neglect says 6 months becomes 2 years. Eventually, all this time passes, and now it feels like an elephant in the room if you see this person because it's been so long. Relationships rarely disappear because something went wrong. Sometimes they disappear because nothing happened. No communication, no contact was exchanged. So here's 5 steps to steward your network well. I want to give them to you quick, rapid fire here. Number 1, I want you to identify who is already in your world. Look at your Facebook friends. Look at your contacts in your phone. Who do you already know? I'm going to give you some categories now. Past clients, family members, friends, former coworkers, people that you go to church with, people that you're in a small group with, maybe other professionals that are vendors, they have other businesses. Maybe it's people that you worked with before or people you've served on at some level before. I want you to take the initiative in life. A mentor of mine says, Chris, things get better in life for 2 reasons. Attention and intention. Number 1, first with the attention, we need to become aware of like, man, I've dropped the ball in reaching out to my people. Number 2, it's like, okay, great. Now I need to be intentional in order to take the initiative. So initiate, don't wait, initiate. I like that. It rhymes. And also take the initiative to start the conversation, whether it's text or phone call. I believe phone call is more effective because they could hear you. They could hear your tonality. They could pick up and you can hear their tonality, right? So it's mutual. So I want you to invest, meaning that you add value without expecting anything in return, especially if it's been years since you've contacted them. Send them an article, make an introduction, celebrate their wins, help solve a problem, invite them to something. I just invited the same gentleman I spoke with earlier today. I invited him to a men's conference coming up in a few weeks. It's actually next week at church. Always be finding ways to add value and to connect with others. It could be making an introduction, or it could be inviting to have a next conversation with them. There's a young man that I met and at church, a small group at church, a men's group that I helped lead up. And you know what I did? I took the initiative. That's the whole point of this section. Take the initiative to offer to meet up over a cup of coffee because there was so much going on. There's no way I could really listen to him well. And I wanted to connect with him at a deeper level. So I invited him to a cup of coffee. So invite somebody to a cup of coffee, invite them to meet via Zoom, whatever. Just find a way to take a next step relationally, if you feel like it's appropriate. Also, relationships aren't built through one conversation. It reminds me of The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy, where it's all the small things done over time that actually will strengthen and build a relationship. And consistency keeps trust. So consistency builds trust. So once you connect with that person again, or reconnect with them, I should say, I want you to make a promise to yourself, at least, that you're going to stay connected with them, meaning that you're going to have a plan to systematically communicate with them. By the way, I have a free resource for you that I would like to give you, that I'll just share the Google link with you. And it's 109 things that I do in 12 months to continue the relationship, to build trust, to strengthen the relationship over a year. I have 109 things that I do intentionally. Please don't check out because you heard 109 and you think, wow, that's a big number, Chris. Most of it's automated, super simple. And I promise you, if I can do it, you can do it too. Comment 109 in the comments below and I'll share that plan with you. So let's define stewardship. I should have done this early ago. When I say stewardship, I mean it's managing the responsibility of something that you've been trusted with. Normally, we only hear about stewardship, or at least me, I think about stewardship when it comes to finances or money. But what if it was actually about relationships? What if it was about people? What if it was about influence? What if it was about trust or opportunities? You don't own relationships, but you are responsible for how you show up in them. So here's the biblical principle as we move towards closing today. Luke 16:9, it says this. Jesus says, whoever could be trusted with very little could also be trusted with much. So before continually ask God for more clients, more profit, more opportunities, maybe you should ask, am I being faithful? Am I being a good steward with what and who he's already entrusted me with? Am I taking the initiative to strengthen and build the relationship? So stop asking for more relationships while neglecting the relationships you've already been given. Like, that's the premise of my entire message today. So to move from chasing to stewardship, stewarding asks this: who do I already know? Chasing says, I need more contacts. Stewardship is about deeper connections. Chasing is about the next transaction. Stewardship is about the relationship. Chasing is about the short-term win just for you. Stewarding is the long game. Acquisition matters, but acquisition without cultivation creates a leaky business. You're always going to be tracking down the next lead. So here's the practical steps I want you to take moving forward. Assuming you're on board, you see an opportunity with people that already like, know, and trust you at least a little bit, and you've done what I've done in the past, meaning you've neglected to stay in touch intentionally. We've all been there, by the way. There's no shame in this. So I'm going to give you what I created. It's called the 5-5-5 challenge. And it's this: I want you to reach out to five past clients and reconnect with them. Maybe you don't have 5 past clients. Okay. Reach out to 5 people that you've lost touch with. And I want you to reach out to 5 people who are currently in your world. That's 15 conversations. By the way, do not pitch your product to them. Do not pitch your business to them. Reconnect. Ask the forward questions about their family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. And so what if the opportunity you've been looking for is already connected to someone you know? Before you spend another dollar trying to chase down some random stranger, invest your time, save your money, invest your time by reaching out and reconnecting with people that you already know. And have this mindset: how can I serve? How can I help them get to where they're going? Or be resourceful, connect them to somebody that they may need an introduction to. You may need to become a better steward of the relationships you already have. Don't just grow your network, steward your network well. Appreciate you tuning into today's episode. If you want my 109-step touch plan to systematically communicate from a place of adding value and contributing to others to strengthen and build the relationships, send me a message or comment 109 below, and I'll send that to you as a free resource. We'll see you next week.